Hello, album enjoyers. We are here very quickly to tell you about the Enjoy an Album Patreon. First off, a huge thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. We've hit a very impressive amount of numbers within the first few weeks. And I think that's because the first few episodes we've done have been pretty cool extra eps. You get 2 extra episodes a month. So far, we have got Robbie Williams, Iron Maiden, Hamilton...
Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton, the American musical, as I like to call it.
And Mogwai's Young Team. So an eclectic, they're just basic extra episodes.
They're not basic.
Sorry, they're just extra episodes that are as the episodes. They're the same as the episodes you get, except they're private to patrons. You also get an ad-free experience. So if this annoys you or the Manscaped ad annoys you, then pay £5 a month. Get rid of them. You also get them 24 hours early. And coming up to the Fringe, you will also have access to pre-sale for live shows. So loads of great benefits in there. Get on board the Patreon Express, become an Ultra or even a Slim Cock Bumblebee, and thank you for your continued support.
Yeah, it's expensive doing a podcast. We love working with Monkey Bar Studios. It's absolutely fantastic. They're our sponsor, in fact. However, I need to get the train through every time. So the first benchmark is we would like enough Patreons that we can get the trains through.
Yep.
And then maybe eventually someone to edit it.
Yep.
And then, it would just be nice for it to pay for itself, essentially. But thank you so much to people who have... And listen, you're not getting nothing. You're getting 2 extra episodes a month that are like banging episodes. Like, so fucking do it if you want.
Yes, thanks so much, and enjoy this week's episode. Here's a question from one of our Patreons. Have you boys ever recorded an album or some songs? So, Chris, you've been in bands?
Been in multiple bands.
Did you ever get into a recording studio with them?
Yeah.
So, which band did you record with?
I don't really like talking about a certain band because I was in a group with a sexually violent person.
Right.
So I don't really want to put out links to stuff where you can enjoy the work of a bad person.
Okay.
We recorded an EP and then a split 7-inch with another band.
What a complicated start to the episode.
Really, and listen, if you love tense discussions on topics, this is the right week for you. I personally do. I think if one of us cried during this episode, that would make it better.
I've never recorded in any music in a studio. It's such a great
process because you hear it and you go, wow,
yeah.
I am shite.
I would love to. I've always loved singing. I love singing. I mean, your listeners probably tell that from how often we sing to each other.
I hear you do the Dream Sleeves intro and I go, this guy's in love with
well,
singing.
I'm not really giving it that much because I don't feel... But I sing around the house. Don't make me sing. I love singing. I don't have... I'm not that public with singing, but I love singing around the house. I love belting out tunes. I love imagining myself on stage.
Why don't you put it in your phone one day? You got a microphone, you got a pop shield in your house. Why don't you just sit down and do some vocal covers for YouTube? We all know that's where all the nice people live.
No, I don't have that much confidence. I have performed singing when I was at college. We did live music shows, and I would sing, and I had the occasional solo, which I did really enjoy.
I loved it.
And we had a music teacher who we would have one-to-one vocal coaching lessons with, which I absolutely loved. If I was rich, I think I would get a vocal coach just to come to my house once a week and do a singing lesson.
Have you seen Funny People by Adam Sandler?
Yes.
It's all about a lonely comedian, and he's famous, but he doesn't have any friends because he's fucked everybody over. And he pays for a full session band to come round and jam with him, and they play Led Zeppelin together.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's go for a drink afterwards. And they're like, no, we need to go up the road.
Yeah.
It's incredibly amazing depiction of how shite it would be to be a millionaire.
Yeah, I think I'd get over it.
Yeah, I'd like to give it a chance to be sick of it. Ooh, I did not get to talk about all the music I've recorded that wasn't with a sexual criminal.
Oh, I mean, you probably should have just opened with that instead of even referencing the other one.
Even sex, I don't even want to talk about it. It's a horrible situation, horrible part of my life that a really beautiful memory just sullied. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I'm not the victim of the whole thing.
I don't know why you keep bringing it up then, quite frankly, when there's other options you could.
I remember a song I recorded with my friend Ryan, not Killers in the Cat House, which we also did together. Later I recorded a project called Donny Don't and the Dialones. It's a kind of electro country project. And we had a song that I sang. It's the only song I've ever wrote a guitar solo for.
Wow.
And it was called Oh Since You Left. It's like, oh, since you stars just don't shine.
Wow.
Wind cries your name, you don't cry mine. Oh, baby, please, just come back to me.
Like it's a croon, so
It's
Arctic
like
Monkey style crooning.
Well,
going on
I was
there.
trying to be Johnny Cash, but I didn't know how to write that type of music, so it really came out like a kind of... It was a waltz. It was a 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
boom, 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 and I wrote the bass line, wrote the guitar part, and I wrote a lead guitar of wow, 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 wow,
I was wondering if you were going to do the whole thing, and you did. Well, thanks for that question.
Thanks for that question.
This week it's Sam Smith. Sam has been in the news a lot, so we've decided to cover their album the best we can. Things get a little bit tense at points, but you wouldn't be listening to Enjoy an Album if you didn't expect some tension between Christopher and I. Now, would you? I think it's one of the main pulls.
Hopefully it'll be edited to the point where you can't tell anything.
We'll see. The regular listeners, you'll hear an ad next. Ultras, you're straight into the good stuff. Enjoy the episode.
This week's episode of Enjoy an Album is sponsored by Manscaped. Not Manscaper, not Manscaping, as I've said in the past. Manscaped, the brand is very important.
Big shout out to the Manscaped crew who are continuing their sponsorship of this podcast and thus helping this podcast sail the merry shores of the pod ocean.
The merry shores of... You think you sail the shores with things?
Well, listen, no, but
He's riffing. He's trying. And I'll tell you what, I've been trying to keep my balls looking good. And... one of the things that helps with that is Manscaped.
The lawnmower is your standard Manscaped equipment. Sometimes when you're keeping it trimmed downstairs with if you're using a traditional beard trimmer or just clippers or even, dare I say, scissors, you can maybe catch the odd bit of skin. Very
See
sore.
the amount of times before I got this stuff where I would just be at it with a wee pair of scissors.
Yeah, nail scissors.
No.
Because they're in the bathroom. Nail clippers, one hair at a time.
I don't have time to go into that. But I've been using a wee pair of scissors and honestly, I cut my balls up. It looked like fucking Ric Flair's forehead, man. You know? Just blood.
Woo!
That's the noise I made when blood gushed from my sack.
Yep.
Tell you what, there's not been a lot of blood with when I used Manscaped products.
Yes, you can also get your hands on the Manscaped nose trimmer, the weed whacker as they call it. Shove it up. Oh my god, I can breathe again.
Honestly, I fucking trim my nose hair when I'm like just watching TV. Like I'm not even looking in the mirror. I'm just like, and I've not even had a nosebleed since for that reason.
There's a few other little products. You can get the whole kit. It comes with a cool, nice wash bag. That
The
you can
bag's
take-
sick.
And it comes with they call it ball toner, which probably,
It does the
slightly,
job.
it doesn't really tone the balls.
Well, I associate toner with the printing industry. And it turns out it's a different type of toner.
Yeah, but it gives a sort of nice
See if
sensation.
you get like smelly
smell.
balls and shit.
Yeah,
Sort of
if you've got woofy balls,
Or if
then,
your boyfriend or your partner or whoever has balls, loads of different types of people have balls, fucking give them some of this shit and their balls will smell class.
But hey, Chris, is this stuff not expensive and out of reach for a regular consumer like me?
Nah, idiot.
No, not with
It's,
the
Enjoy
Enjoy
an
Album
Album discount
code.
code.
Use album20 on the checkout to get 20% off your Manscaped products. Thank you so much, and happy balls to you.
Happy balls to you, as we always say here on Enjoy an Album.
You're listening to Enjoy an Album, the podcast where two comedians listen to some of the greatest albums of all time.
Sam Smith's fourth album, Gloria, opens with the kind of music we've come to expect from the British singer-songwriter. Love Me More is a gospel-inflected ballad celebrating the power of self-acceptance. But after that, Smith goes off script. I wanted it to be a patchwork of pop. It's something that I was really passionate about. I wanted to be flipping from genre to genre to genre to genre. Gloria then brings us sensual R&B, dazzling dance floor moments. Lose You is perhaps Smith's best sad banger yet. Twisting hyperpop, a dancehall indebted earworm, and even choral music with embraces of sex, the power of community, and queer joy and history along the way. That's one of the longest sentences I've ever read out loud.
Where was that blurb from?
From Apple Music.
Oh.
It was actually, I think it was the first paragraph of a review about it, this album. So it's Sam Smith.
Sam Smith, non-binary legend.
Well, you know what? I think I want to touch on that just at the beginning.
Just at the
okay.
start.
So Christopher and I think, I don't want to speak for you here, but I'm pretty sure we are completely 100% accepting of anybody's self-identity. And
If you want to be a they, them, or if you are a they, them, and you know that, good
absolutely.
on you. I'm not.
we will always strive to use someone's preferred pronouns.
However,
We are also riffing and spliffing in the big time, okay? We're talking fast. We're talking funky. We're arguing with each other. We're having hot takes. There may be the occasional time during this episode where even though we completely recognise Sam Smith's existence as a they, them, the occasional he, him slips out. This is not a
this
statement.
is because we are secretly bigots.
No.
Oh,
It's
wait,
not
sorry,
because
I've got the
that.
wrong
No. It is because we are
No, that's right.
talking so fast, and perhaps you could say in your most accusatory, being a little bit thoughtless. But I think it's more.
I'm going to do my best.
We're going to absolutely do our best, and anytime we slip, so I'm just apologising in advance for any potential misgendering
Yeah,
of Sam.
it's not as being horrible. It's us being stupid, which is different.
Yes, but we are striving. I'm hoping that this will be a redundant pre-apology.
I've wrote they, them on my piece of paper.
You actually have as well, in big letters, they, them.
big letters. That's usually a blank spot for notes, and I've said, just do it. I think it's important.
Of course.
And I also think it's a big part of this record. This is in the news a lot recently.
Yes.
Because it's a big album by a very popular singer. This is #1 in the US charts. And the way people speak about Sam Smith is changed, hasn't it?
Massively. And I think...
When was the first time you heard Sam Smith about them?
Well, Sam Smith is a big pop star. Mm-hmm. So one of those sort of unavoidable pop stars. It's like
I
saying...
tried to avoid that.
It's like...
What was that laugh?
I'm so nervous about misgendering Sam.
Okay, Dad.
So there was, first off, I remember listening to the Disclosure album when that came out. Absolute incredible dance album.
Secret Poshos.
Disclosure, probably.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Remember that duo Jungle came out?
Yes.
And they were both privately educated, and they kept saying, can people stop bringing up the fact that we're privately educated? Because it takes away from the music that we have appropriated from the blackest
Disclosure
types
that
of
as well?
music. I would say so, aren't they? Two wee posh boys who draw wee lines in their face.
I don't know.
We'll find out, sure.
Yeah, it's an amazing album, that album. I loved that album. That was me at the height of taking MDMA and going to Sneaky Pete's. The song White Noise with Aluna George. White Noise!
Yeah.
And it's got the London Grammar song.
So Smitty was on that?
Yes. Smitty was on that in a song called Latch. Mary J. Blige said when she first heard Latch, she thought that Sam Smith was a black woman.
Wow.
High
praise.
based on their voice. That is... we'll go into Sam's sort of influences throughout the episode, but definitely a lot of his influences are...
There.
A lot of their influences, thank you. So I was aware of that. I was also... there's a song, Stay With Me, which
Why
is...
won't you stay with me?
So I think Sam has quite a lot of these, let's be honest, middle-of-the-road pop songs, right?
What I will say about that song is previous guest, last week's guest, Stephen Buchanan,
Yes.
he once told me not a funny story, but just a story about his life where the night that he first spent with his partner, they had a piano in the room,
right?
And when the girl woke up, he was serenading her with the song "Stay" by Rihanna. But every time he tells me that story, I go, "Why won't you stay with me?" And he's like, "No, that's not the song. It's "Stay" by Rihanna."
But I don't think there's much different. Like, I don't think that
He thinks so.
I think that. I mean, I wish that I knew that story when we were recording with Stephen, because boy, oh boy, I'd have made fun of him for that.
It's beautiful. It's nice.
Yeah. So, I
Do you
mean,
have any like stories about your? I mean, you can just say no, but I remember when my girlfriend was not living with me. She visited me, and she was going to have to go away again. And I hadn't seen her in a couple of months. And I went 3 nights together, and then had to kiss her goodbye at a train station, as you may have heard in my stand-up comedy routine about it.
Yes.
But I do remember lying in bed with her, and I couldn't express myself, the emotions that I felt. So I just put on the song "First Day of Your Life" by Bright Eyes.
What is wrong with you and Stephen?
How about we fucking have a connection with our hearts? You fucking Gollum-hearted rock person.
No, I would just say it with my words.
Oh, what would you say?
I wouldn't.
I love you?
Yeah.
Well, so sometimes you go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like you love them.
I'd say,
quote
listen,
Robbie Williams.
you're leaving, and that makes me sad because I feel a real human connection with you.
You
But
never used a song to tell someone how you feel about them like that?
I don't think I'm that cheesy. I think I would.
It's not cheesy.
You don't think singing and
I'm
playing?
not cheesy.
You don't think playing a Rihanna song on a piano
What's
in the
wrong with
morning?
cheese? What's this issue against cheese as well? Everybody likes it.
No, I don't think I've ever done anything as lame-o as that. Sorry
Quite
to
lame.
disappoint you.
Sorry, me and Steve are opening with our partners about stuff like that, and like have emotions and stuff. We've both got men's mental health, all right, and you don't respect that. That's
No,
fine.
not at all. No, I think we should re-stigmatise mental health.
Person's mental health. Sorry.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Yeah, I knew of Sam Smith via that song and that album. Stay With Me, that kind of middling
won't you?
George Ezra style, you know, just pop that your mum likes, you know? Maybe not your mum.
What? No, my mum's more into the Simply Reds of the world.
Also, I remember Sam Smith doing the James Bond theme.
That was controversial because it was supposed to be your favourite band in the world, and you agree with them on everything they do politically.
That's not true.
Radiohead.
Nope. There's put a clear distinction there. That's
Right,
that's
okay.
a lie you've said.
Okay, explain Radiohead.
Explain Radiohead. I don't have time. Okay,
They're your favourite band though.
they were my favorite band. I don't know if I call
You
my
have a
favorite.
Radiohead tattoo.
I do have a Radiohead tattoo. Yes, and they were very important in my musical journey for sure. They were one of the first big alternative bands that I listened to that made me think that music could do something different. Like, well, maybe one day I would wake up next to a beautiful woman and I would play her 15 Step from In Rainbows to show her
The
around
raindrops,
how
the raindrops, the raindrops, the raindrops.
Yes. That song, The Writings on the Wall, it's actually, I re-listened to it. It is actually a beautiful song.
Do you think it's better than the Radiohead Spectre song?
I think the Radiohead Spectre song, I can see why they didn't go with it for
Yeah.
the Bond, because it's very Radioheady. It's very Tom York whining.
Yes.
You know. Whereas when you hear like the orchestral movement behind Sam Smith, Sam Smith, I will say, has a beautiful voice. A stunning voice.
Pair of pipes.
What a pair of pipes. Absolutely. And that paired with the orchestral movement in The Writing on the Wall is really like, done to great effect. I don't know if it's not one of the
Is it on your top 10 Bond songs of all time by any chance?
top 10 potential.
Potential.
I mean,
You know my favourite.
it's no Skyfall.
It's No Die Another Day.
By Madonna.
Yeah.
The worst.
I
I'm gonna wake up. Yes and no, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, you're saying that as if that's a slagging that she's talking like a robot. You ever heard of that band called Kraftwerk or
Yeah.
Kraftwerk?
Yeah, I have.
They're good.
They are.
So you don't think they're good?
I would have never done a Bond theme.
I'd like to see that.
So that was and also Sam Smith has been in the news a lot recently. Now I think there's been a real menacing turn from the media in this country towards Sam Smith. Sam has broken some of the big rules about being a person in the public eye. Rule number 1. If you put on weight, you're supposed to be ashamed of it. Okay, this is according to the British media, not to me. Whereas Sam is, very recently celebrating body positivity.
Yeah.
They have maybe put on some weight, but they are not ashamed of it and not even just comfortable with it. Like I've put on a little bit of weight over the last year. I've been on steroids for an illness.
Didn't bring it up.
Put on for a couple stone. And my reaction to that was to buy a load of large jumpers so that I could still perform without being too embarrassed about it.
It wasn't to wear a corset with nipple tassels.
That's right.
Which is cool.
Sam Smith is not wearing large jumpers. No. Sam Smith is wearing corsets and thongs and skimpy outfits and looking fabulous whilst doing it.
See when they had that thing where it was like the David Bowie costume, where it was
for the Brits,
and David Bowie wore that and Sam Smith wore that to the Brits, and it was a kind of David Bowie inspired, or David Bowie, if you ask him, inspired costume, and it also kind of harkened back to the Pet Shop Boys remember when Jimmy Tarbuck was introducing the Pet Shop Boys at the Royal Variety Performance, and he had the Izzy Mizaki, is that the name of the person who had the rubber suit that kind of made his body look different.
Yep.
Kind of similar to the David Byrne thing, where he has the big suit to make his head look small. Everybody was going, can you believe it? Can you fucking believe it? This guy's wearing something silly. Or this person's wearing something silly. Well, they would say this guy, because they're fucking bigots. I just don't understand, And obviously to me that is, my body's different. And I'm going to make a statement about that by saying, here's another type of body you could have,
So, of course, you and I can rationally think about that. But the reason that the media behave the way that they did about it is because Sam has recently come out, if you will, as non-binary and genderqueer, which is at the moment for your right-wing newspapers.
Or left-wing newspapers.
Well, yeah, exactly. That is another rule that is broken. You are doing something that we now no longer generally agree with. So anything we can hit you with, we will hit you with. Absolutely, 100%. So, I don't think any of them genuinely, have disregarded David Bowie, whatever. It's just another way of attacking someone who is, for their readership, someone we now don't understand or agree with about stuff.
This is maybe a hot take. Maybe not a hot take, maybe just something that's extremely obvious, but the media in this country is so fucking painfully, powerfully transphobic. But there aren't, because we live in such a socially conservative country, there aren't enough trans people to attack in the public eye that they have to then go and attack non-binary people as a kind of fucking
proxy.
What was that thing Mr. Hanky did? And therefore, in South Park, where he goes, I love me, you love you, therefore vicariously.
Right.
They are vicariously.
The way you got there is really incredible.
They are vicariously attacking trans people through Sam Smith.
I mean, I think they see them as all as one attackable blob.
It's fucking insane, the media in this country, compared to America. They didn't invent social conservatism. That's, but they've made a good go at it, redefining it. But even American people look at our media and go, what's going on over there on Turf Island, man? Yeah.
And this is definitely attributed to all of that. And you see the transphobes online. I remember, transphobe in chief, no need to name them, going after Sam Smith when Sam came out as someone who was non-binary and they, them. So that is definitely an angle. It's a stick to beat them with, essentially.
Is it Graham Linehan?
Yeah, I was just like making a choice.
I've actually had to change my haircut to not look like him, and it's not worked.
Who was it who tagged you in a picture of him?
I don't know, because they're dead to me. Some piece of shit put a pic, I wear a collared shirt sometimes, and I've got a non-symmetrical head, everybody sees him with his stupid wee shirts, and he has incredibly non-symmetrical head. And listen, you're not allowed to go after people for the way they look, but he does it, so it's fine. He looks like a goblin.
Yeah.
Malformed goblin. And What were we talking about that for?
So, well, yeah, I mean, so that was my sort of background with Sam Smith. I can't say I've ever sat down and listened to their music that much.
I never seen Spectre.
No, I haven't seen either. I saw Sam Smith sing Spectre on the Graham Norton show, where they complained about they not complained, but they said, "Oh, I don't know why I've written this song so high," and that was actually a really difficult song for them to sing because it was in such a high pitch.
Not the first time this book comes into the conversation. I'm currently reading a book called "Turn the Beat Around: The Secret History of Disco" by Peter Shapiro. No relation to Rick Shapiro or Ben Shapiro. I hope. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, they were saying that one of the reasons I heard it through the grapevine by, was it Marvin Gaye or Otis Redding? Marvin Gaye. One of the reasons that was such a good song is because the guy who wrote it intentionally put it out of his natural key so that he would have to strain his voice to make it sound better, to make it sound more emotional. He intentionally wrote
it adds
the song.
a sort of element of urgency to it. Yeah, I understand.
I heard it through the grapevine. You know,
Yeah,
that was down low, he'd just be crushing it and he'd sound very relaxed.
So my thoughts of Sam Smith were, prior to research, was, I mean, I didn't know anything about their background. I knew that they had been sort of being fairly unfairly attacked by the right-wing media, and so naturally, as someone who would consider themselves left-wing or an ally, say, well, good on yourself, Sam Smith. You're body positive and you're releasing quite, queer-orientated music and with a sort of new aesthetic. I just thought, good for you. Good.
Do you know what happened? Read to me. So maybe we put that Raytons clip out.
Yeah.
We're slagging off the Raytons.
Oh yeah, someone replied.
Somebody replied, a wee Rayton head, a wee absolute dunce.
So we shared a clip of us slagging off.
No, not slagging off, discussing.
We were slagging them off.
Okay, we were
slagging off a band called the Raytons, sort of cheap Arctic Monkeys knockoff, and
Pound Stretcher's version of the Rakes.
Pretty well on Twitter, and so Raytons Twitter found us and did not care for our criticism of their faves.
There was a wee lad from Portsmouth who got in touch to say, this is probably the type of music that you like, isn't it? And then they shared a picture of Gloria by Sam Smith. And then other people speculated that I was non-binary.
Yes.
That was weird.
Well, I mean, it just speaks to the thought channels that these people have. You don't like that stuff, so you must like this weird woke stuff.
You must like this gay stuff.
It's just everything is culture war. So music isn't just music. It's, if you like that, you must like all this other stuff that I disagree with. If you don't like that, then you don't like all this other stuff that I do agree with, etc.
I just want to say, if you like the Raytons, you should be shot with guns.
Let's do a background check on Sam Smith.
Secret Posho. Secret Posho. You do it fast and it feels like not sure. Got no money. You got Dutch bro. Secret Posho.
It's a good one this week.
Ooh, listen, we like them. Maybe we're not going to that yet.
Listen, I'm just an investigative journalist.
You're just a bloody gumshoe. Pounding the pavement. Try to get the truth.
Yep.
So we were kind of discussing this. I was like, so what's the Secret Porsche going to be this week? And you were like, save it for the podcast. I try not to look into the background of the artist because I like to get a natural reaction from what and also I don't like doing any work. So when Liam does the work, and then I can go, oh, that's interesting. That's better for me. But I genuinely thought he was like an X Factor person.
You thought they were an X Factor person. So that's not their background.
Okay.
There is the reason that this is a good Secret Posh show this week is because it's that classic. A story has been put out that they want the public to believe, but with very little digging, you can find out that the story is very selective.
Right.
So the story is put out, and this is the first one I covered. At first, I thought I was going to come in and say Sam Smith, working class,
just a lad with a couple of tattoos.
Right. Sam Smith's dad. This is the story. Fred Smith worked as a fruit and veg man at a market. Had a van.
Market boy.
Sam Smith, before releasing Latch with Disclosure, was cleaning toilets as a job.
Toilet cleaner.
End of section. Also, I thought Sam Smith's mother was a broker for a company called Tulip Prebon,
Tulip Prebon?
where she earns £200,000 a year.
Is she estranged?
No. What do you mean?
Well, your dad's shouting about cucumbers in the EastEnders scene.
Well, this is it. That's the story they put out, okay? But Sam Smith's mother...
When you mean they, do you mean they, or do you mean they as a force?
I mean, as a family, still together,
Right.
okay? So yes, Sam Smith's dad was at one point a fruit and veg man at the market, but not for a very long time. That's a job that's a job he had years ago.
It's like if I claimed that my dad was a hairdresser and then he bought shares in Raytheon.
Yes.
What's
okay?
Tulip Reborn?
It's a it's a stockbroking company, a currency exchange.
Right.
She had a top job there, $200,000 a year. Okay. They lived in a village in a grade 2 listed building worth £500,000. Yes. Okay. Sam Smith's mum
Don't
was...
want to have to work for 2.5 years on her wage to afford that.
She was sacked because she was using her time and resources at work to promote her son's career when Sam Smith was 16 years old.
She's a stage mum.
She sued this company and got nearly £1 million.
Nice.
So, and she used that money to fund Sam Smith's move to London and various singing lessons, etc., etc. So I think at one point he did have a job in a bar. Or rather, at one point they did have a job in a bar, which would have involved perhaps cleaning a toilet.
I cleaned the toilet when I worked in hairdressers, but I wouldn't say that was my job. My job was washing people's hair.
So when we say secret posho, this isn't like often we'll find they're posh, but there's no secret about it. But this is, I think there has been a job done to try and keep this secret. But
I'm just worried that nobody's going to like this, because if you tune in and we're talking about how we respect pronouns, Sam Smith fans will be like, oh, that's good. And then we get to this bit and they're like, ugh.
well,
I hate these boys.
Well, we're only saying what the truth is.
We are
And
journalists. We're real journalists. NTSJ certified journalists.
The
We've
point
both
of
got
this
degrees.
section is to facilitate that discussion about whether or not where someone has come from affects your interest in their music. And
Does this affect the way you've heard about this?
we'll talk about how we feel about the music once we get there. But I do think I think this sort of deliberate the deliberate misdirection. Thank you.
Cleaning the toilets, and over here, fucking rabbit comes out the hat, and the rabbit is worth £500,000.
Yeah, I do think that is a little bit. It's a bit sneaky. Just be honest about it. You know what I mean?
It doesn't sound good. Nobody likes you when you're rich, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I like you even less if you're secretly rich.
Yeah. Well, that's secret posh, wasn't it?
You know what? So what happened was I did the first bit of research. I saw toilet cleaner, dad a fruit and veg man. I thought, working class.
Bloody hell. He's just like me.
He's just like me. I'll go tap down the cart and horses with Iron Maiden. I bet he's a West Ham fan.
I do. I was saying.
Let me finish. I'll tell you when the alarm bells started ringing.
Nino.
Sam Smith spoke during a recent interview, coming to terms with their new body image, about age 12 having liposuction.
Yeah.
And I thought, liposuction? Age 12?
For someone who works in a market.
I thought, I was like, can you get liposuction on the NHS? Age 12, I mean, the ethics of a 12-year-old getting liposuction aside. Now, I thought perhaps...
But do you not think that's his rich ma?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I thought perhaps, there is a condition...
They're rich ma.
There is a condition, essentially, man breasts.
Oh, yeah. Fucking The Rock.
Right, yes.
Dwayne Johnson has memories, and he had to get them reduced. That's why he got that chest tattoo to cover up the scars.
Yes, okay. So I thought maybe it's that. And then I saw an interview with Sam talking about it, saying, yeah, I got liposuction, I hated my body, and then I put the weight back on within 2 weeks. It turned out it was a waste of time. And I was like, what? Who's paying for this liposuction on a 12-year-old?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's spooky bananas.
And that's what led me to dig a little bit deeper and say, when your mum earns 200 grand a year,
Yeah.
and I think is a bit of a pushy stage mum.
That just makes me like him. I feel sorry for him because their mum is like being horrible like that, you know? Like I didn't have a stage mum or a stage dad. I had like, you know, they weren't like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to go acting lessons, and they were like, shut the fuck up. It's the exact opposite.
So was in a car once with a teacher, and Tracy Chapman was playing on the radio.
She got a fast car.
Sam Smith sang along, and the teacher was like, "Oh my God, you have a voice of an angel." Got them into music lessons. Mother then paid for private music lessons. Eventually moved to London. And again, this was part of the story. Was like, oh, when Sam Smith was working in a bar, met Jimmy Napes.
Who's Jimmy Napes?
Jimmy Napes is their long-term collaborator. It does sound like a sort of dodgy geezer.
All right, mate, it's me, Jimmy Napes.
My old man introduced me to Jimmy Napes down the fruit and veg market.
Jimmy Napes sounds like Cockney Devon slang for grapes. I'm in the hospital, mate, laid up with a bad leg. Give me a pair of Jimmys, will ya? Yeah, a pair of grapes. That'll keep you fed, you idiot.
That was the story. They met while Sam Smith was working in a bar, cleaning toilets. Principal toilet cleaner at the working class bar.
And so...
but then it turns out that Jimmy Napes was friends with the manager that their mum had mixed them, introduced them to. So again, it's all these fibs. Fibs among fibs among fibs.
Sometimes the lie is better than the story, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and friend of the manager, Elvin Smith.
Elvin Smith.
Elvin is quite the name, isn't it?
I was an Elvin Smith in Skyrim. I was a dark elf, and I really hit the forge hard.
And released some singles.
I deserved more.
Had released 2 singles by the age of 16. Eventually went on to record Latch with Disclosure. That was the first big hit, and then the rest is
so
history.
sure Disclosure is a fucking Exactamundo secret Posho bonanza.
I'm not disputing it. I just don't.
Should I do a live one? Early life of Disclosure. Disclosure were born to professional musician parents. Their father played in rock bands, including No Angry Man and The Lookbook. Well, alongside the brother and guy's godfather, and is now a professional auctioneer.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
Whilst their mother,
Full
a session
disclosure.
musician. Full disclosure.
That's what their name should be.
They both attended Reigate College.
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, it sounds pretty posh.
It's a state college in Reigate. Does state mean? What does state mean again? It's backwards here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
the
private.
UK. State means private, and
Public
means.
No, public means private. I don't know. I get confused. I have to look them up each time. Yeah.
What were your like preconceptions of this record?
Well, I'd seen basically the screenshots of Sam Smith in the corset with the nipple tassels. I hadn't actually heard the song because it's not somewhere. I mean, it's not a sort of song I would hear anywhere because I don't listen to anywhere that would sort of play it. Do you know what I mean? It's that Radio 1, maybe Radio 2 vibe, that crossover. Yeah. But don't listen to them. It's just not anywhere where I would
I bet if
it.
you're the type. I mean, I don't even know if this just makes me sound like an ancient man. If you're the type of person who has the music channels.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, you had the music channels. And you would listen to like the modern pop songs of the day.
Yeah.
Now I think it's more kind of YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
don't think that's a big thing anymore, the music channels. I
You
think
would
you're
just
right.
put YouTube on.
I think there's a lot of TikTok. I think a lot of music gets sort of shared around via TikTok.
So the nipple tassel thing's a bit from the song I'm Not Here to Make Friends.
Yep.
And we'll get to that. I listened to this record. I was expecting people kind of talk about this record. It seems in a kind of like, oh, Sam Smith used to be the wee person in the suit. That was and if you watch the James Bond video for Writing on the Wall, they are walking around in the wee suit and they look very smart. But they don't look like a pop star. They look like a kind of stage managed X Factor winner, even though that's not what they are. But then I seen the screenshots, the nipple tassels, the corsets and stuff, and people were like, "Oh, this is a different type of this like real raunchy gay pop music, like Prince." And I was like, "This is gonna be sick." And then I put on "Love Me More," and as it said in the blurb, it is old-fashioned ballad nonsense. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then it got to "Unholy" and all the Jessie Reyez stuff, and I'm Not Here to Make Friends. And I was like, "Okay, that's nice."
Yeah, so it is a real mix. There's some classic Sam Smith sort of pop ballads in here as well. And then there's some more experimental music in. I mean, Unholy has that sort of choral start.
It's very heavy metal.
Like sort of almost like the singing in Latin. Or
Mommy don't know daddy's getting hard at the body shop doing something unholy.
Yeah, I mean, I shop at the body shop. I buy my ginger shampoo and conditioner from there. And
Ginger can be quite hot.
yeah, you're telling me. I remember the Spice Girls episode.
Okay. I'm Not Here to Make Friends video. It kind of reminded me of the Wannabe video.
Yeah,
'cause
so
that was like...
the I'm Not Here to Make Friends. Both that and Unholy do have similar vibes in the video. They're big parties, big sort of proud, sort of, I would say, kink friendly. There's a lot of different stuff going on. They're sort of both kind of like parties that could turn into orgies. Is the general vibe.
It's a great bit in the I'm Not Here to Make Friends video where Sam Smith's wearing a corset, got the nipple test was on, and all these people are lying face down wearing assless corsets.
Yes.
And then they put their butts up, and then Sam Smith goes like that. Do you know that kind of thing? Like
Drives them
driving
like a car, and they move
all
their
their
butts in tandem with the mimed car steering wheel. I remember it very well. Yeah, that's a sort of cool bit of choreography.
Yeah, very cool bit of choreography.
Yeah.
Try not to be horny on me, but I was like, that's sick.
Yeah, so I will say this for the album. Hot take incoming. And Sam Smith has obviously, I mean, was previously known as someone who did sad ballads. There's a lot more joy in this album, and it's a freedom of expression that obviously they've found in their recently realized gender identity.
Would you know
that were
Gloria?
recently realized sort of body positivity. Someone who's spoken a lot about having struggled with weight over the years, but someone who had liposuction, age 12, and that freedom comes into the songs. I think there is some more interesting experimental songs in here. However, that freedom does not quite reach the lyrical side of things on the majority of the album.
You think it's a good lyrical album?
I think there are some songs like Unholy, for example, which reminded me of It's a Sin by Pet Shop Boys. It's that juxtaposition between sort of religious words and gay lifestyle. I thought was interesting, but then there's a lot of it which is just a lot of general weak platitudes. You know, the opening song is just like, you know, I look in the mirror and I just think you should love yourself, and it's just a bit.
It's pop music, man.
Of course, but that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to criticize some basic themes. I think there's that sort of stuff does get explored in pop music, but it's not done at its best here. And it just feels like the lyrical side needs to catch up a little bit with the other more experimental aesthetics and songwriting.
All right, that is a hot take. My hot take is the bits of the record where it's a big gay party, class. I'm not looking for interesting lyrics in a pop album. My favourite bit of the record is in I'm Not Here to Make Friends, where it goes, I need a la 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 la. I need a la 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 la.
Sometimes you do need a la la la.
I need a la 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 la. I need a lover. I need a lover. I need a lover. I need a lover. That isn't smart, but it's class.
Yeah.
I like the bits where it's unholy and I'm not here to make friends, and I even like Gloria. The idea of Gloria is this being who Sam Smith feels like has went inside them, and that's why there's been this shift in the way they present themselves and the way that the music comes across. See when it's a big gay party, class.
Yep.
See when Ed Sheeran shows up.
What the fuck is that all about?
Imagine you were in a gay bar. Things are getting raucous. The beats are banging. People are doing crazy stuff to
not
each
just
other.
the beats that are banging, let me tell you.
Not just the beats that are banging. Things are going on in the corner. Piss. In the video, there's a piss play illusion, right?
Yeah.
You're and listen, I'm not part of that lifestyle, but imagine you were there and you're like, whoa, I'm a tourist in this world. This is insane.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it cool. And you turn around. Who's in the corner?
Ed Sheeran with his shite tattoos.
Ed Sheeran with his wee hoodie on, and the sleeves of his hoodie are over his hands, and he's just standing there like that with his wee ginger head.
Plugging in a loop pedal.
playing his loops.
Come on, man.
I would fucking say to the bouncer, he's not allowed in here. Get him out.
Come on. Not to be, but
I've seen that wee
surely
ginger guy jacking off. Get him out here.
the bouncer will be like, that's okay.
Ed Sheeran just...
There's someone pissing on someone else over there. You can jack off.
You're allowed to jack off if you want. We're not sure what kind of bar it is, right? But... yeah, I saw that wee ginger guy not jacking off. Kick him out.
Yeah, it does feel like there is. It's kind of there's a similar point to what I was making. Though I do feel like there are 2 albums here, and they are pulling in different directions. And
See,
there
if
is,
this was a 2-discer,
or even if not, just get rid of the.
obviously just get rid of them. But
There's the middle of the road classic Sam Smith pop songs, and then there's the It's a Big Gay Party.
I love the Big Gay Party.
And the Big Gay Party is far more interesting, and that's where the most interesting and best lyrics of the album sit. But in the, I'm not teaching you how to cry and stuff like that. It's just, come on.
You don't need to teach me.
This is pretty basic stuff, Sam. Come on.
Started crying when Ed Sheeran showed up at the fucking sex party, man.
Yeah. That dancehall song, Gimme, 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 Gimme. Didn't like that.
See, I can't even have Gimme in my head because when I think of a song called Gimme, I just hear, give me more, give me more, give me,
gimme a man.
Another great song. It's hard to write a song about the phrase gimme when Gimme's been covered by Britney Spears and ABBA so well. And that may be the gayest thing I've ever said.
The dance hall sort of turn does stand out a bit as a bit like, not quite Mr. Benish, but you're like, come on,
He's
Sam.
just trying on the big pop.
You're a rich white guy. And you're doing dancehall. Come on, you're a famous Jamaican beat.
Loaded white person.
Yeah, it reminded me that actually it did remind me of do you remember the song "Turn Me On" by Kevin Little? It has a similar dancehall beat to that.
I don't remember if I know.
You know that song.
Who's Kevin Little?
Make me crazy, turn me on, rock your body. You got me going crazy.
So was he the guy in Stuart Little that owned the ship for the boat race in Central Park? Right. He didn't like him. That was the big kind of part of the film. He didn't like Stuart. Fucking idiot. Your brothers are nice. Enjoy it.
There's a lot of this song that reminded me of other bad pop songs. A lot of this album even. Lose You. It reminded me of JLS's Heartbeat.
How did that go again? Hard skip, so beat. That was Ollie Murs.
Yeah, different.
He was great. What happened to Ollie Murs? He said that he was in a terror attack in London, and you don't hear anything from him for 10 years.
Is Ollie? No, I would say Ollie Murs is like. I mean,
that was example. Heart skipped a beat.
So days like this, I do think you have ADHD.
Yeah, I do. And yet the doctors, I don't want to be on a list, but the doctors won't tell me.
Well, you haven't asked them.
You need to fill out a form. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I've asked you to write the form out for me.
No, you haven't.
No, I haven't.
The best hook on the album is from I'm Not Here to Make Friends, and it's the best example of the vocal talents of Sam Smith. Their ability to go from what they call the chest voice to the head voice and the mix in between is summed up perfectly in that hook. Don't be scared if you like it. The way that they jump from between octaves is genuinely really impressive. They have such a rich voice compared often to Adele. I can see why. And like
because they both have money.
Yes, but yeah, genuinely, really impressive vocals on a lot of the album. So they back it up.
I was reading in The Guardian, there was a criticism of this record saying that Sam Smith, this is a bit of a, it's like the backlash to the backlash, because a few years ago they wrote the song Writing on the Wall for the Bond soundtrack, won a Grammy or an Oscar, can't remember which, and then in the acceptance speech they said, so glad to be the first openly gay person to do this, and people were like, you're so ignorant of gay history, you don't even fucking appreciate the multitudes of people who've won this stuff before. And then this is kind of them going, I do know my gay history, that's why they have, you know, the Stonewall stuff in it, and that's why they have the samples of Divine and Pink Flamingos by John Waters. You're a John Waters head?
Yeah, of course. I love that John Waters quote where he says, if you go back to someone's house and they don't have any books, then don't fuck them.
Yeah. I mean...
I went out and I bought loads of books.
Please don't fuck me. But
and also there's like RuPaul is on there as well, I think.
yeah. So it's kind of them going, okay, I'm actually into all that stuff. And I do think there's a really interesting part of this book, Turn the Beat Around by Peter Shapiro, where they talk about how the disco scene, the gay music of the 70s in New York, it actually came out of the anti-Nazi movement in France when France was occupied by Nazis, and these secret underground discotheques where people would meet. But it started off as just a place for the weirdos and the outsiders and the anti-fascists. But rich people, famous people heard about it, and then they became prioritized. And then when disco came into New York, you know, it was illegal for people to be openly gay in bars because they get their head kicked in by the corrupt NYPD, still an evil force for humanity. They had to go to these underground bars, and the exact same thing happened. There is always of these outsider spaces, it always eventually becomes, this is a place for the good looking, this is a place for the famous, and it gets cool due to the fact that weirdos make it cool. But then the weirdos, it's like a cultural form of gentrification.
Well, there was a clip that went viral recently of a guy losing his mind on the dance floor, shirtless in fabric. Yeah. And you know, that's people making fun of it. It's like, have you ever been to a rave?
Yeah.
This is what raving. This happens at raves.
Well, if you haven't seen it, basically there's a dance music used to be a place, or nightclubs like Fabric used to be a place where gay people could go and fucking show off that they were unholy. You know, that they were not here to make friends, that they were here to find a lover, and express themselves, as Madonna might say. And then that music became popular, became homogenized by white straight people. Then a boring fucking guy who works in finance, who likes deep house, goes to one of these nights, sees a gay guy being weird, and goes, "What the bloody hell's this?" You know?
Yeah, I mean, this is why what's the famous Berlin nightclub? No phones.
No phones.
You know,
just like a John Mulaney concert. No
so let's do Dream Sleeves.
We're not talking about the gentrification of gay spaces?
I think we've probably done enough of that. Okay. We look at the art and we judge the art and decide if it's a good or fart. This is a very basic, simple, well, not basic, but this is a simple minimalist album cover. What we have here is Sam presenting a new version of themselves. So we have the bleached blonde hair. They are shirtless and they are showing off their tattoo, which is two male presenting people kissing.
Where are we doing tattoo Boohoo right now?
Not
We're two people reviewing tattoos. We're gonna Google it, research it, and we'll choose if it's tattoo woohoo or tattoo boohoo. We're judging the ink, yeah, that's what we do. The full sleeve or face tat, big skull or wing bat. You pick the design. Is it bad or just fine? A dragon or a skull, pretentious or dull? You cannot hide, and we will decide if it's tattoo woohoo or tattoo boohoo. Yeah. Now, if I had to say to you, who are these two people? Who would you guess?
Oh, so aren't they two people from history?
These are two people, as people so often are, from history.
Right, interesting. I'm not sure who they are.
Take a guess.
Elvis?
Correct.
Is it actually?
Yes. Who's he kissing?
Johnny Cash.
So close.
Who is he kissing?
James Dean.
Right, so it's Elvis kissing James Dean. So
you want another look?
Oh, okay. Wow, incredibly.
This is like I'm a fucking one of those shite comedians.
Okay, so let me. It is just like that.
You know what?
Almost indecipherable. From
I would never do a slideshow show. Other people have done it.
We're not getting back into this, okay? We're not doing this again. Horrible little boy. Horrible little boy.
Just because I do the only correct form of art.
Yeah.
Right, what do you think of this?
Okay, so I'm going to try and describe it to the audio listener who's been lost for the last minute or so. This is a tattoo of James Dean kissing Elvis. It is a line drawing, but what is really interesting about it is it is a single line drawing. So the whole tattoo is you could follow from one pen stroke. So, I mean, that in itself is really impressive. The idea is cool. This is an immediate, and it sort of looks like a love heart as well. This is one of the best tattoos we've looked at, I think.
Kind of reminds me of the Disclosure at work.
Yeah, which probably is not completely accidental. Sam Smith speaks very fondly of Disclosure because that first song really launched them into the mainstream. So yeah, that's a big woohoo from me. I'm up for. I mean, it's basically erotic fan fiction.
Yeah,
erotic fan fiction tattoos. If anyone has any enjoy an album erotic fan fiction, please keep it to yourself. I want absolutely nothing to do with that.
Send it in.
Is there another one?
Yes. Also, kind of clear. It's on their other arm.
Okay.
And it's Sam Smith standing in front of the mirror. He says, yep, this is Sam Smith standing in front of a mirror in high heels. They said this is something that happened to them as a child.
So it's a young Sam Smith facing himself in the mirror wearing just Y fronts and high heels. So this speaks to their sort of body positivity, the idea of the self, how you are perceived. It's another woohoo from me. Great tats.
They might be
Giants.
Secret
Great
Posho.
band. They might be Giants. Let's do an episode of that.
You're not the boss of me. I actually was going to suggest that because I love that song.
I would love to be the boss of you because I would fire you.
I would fire you out a cannon into a wall.
So I'm going to finish the dream sleeves. So the album cover is Sam Smith looking directly at the camera, staring at you, as if to say, "Yeah, this is who I am now."
Anchor tattoo. Oh, anchor earring.
Yes.
They have a anchor tattoo on their arm, and they have an anchor tattoo on their chest now. This photograph was taken before the most recent anchor tattoo.
A reference to their first single, "Little Sailor."
Is it?
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, portrait album covers are always gonna be sort of fairly, non-exciting.
That is I think that's quite good. It's just like,
but Sam is doing a relaunch.
Yeah.
a
rebrand.
A relaunch, rebrand. So I get it. It makes sense. Beautiful eyes as well. So yeah, I like the album cover gets a woohoo from me as well.
Yeah, the British wrestler Zack Sabre Jr. recently rebranded himself in a very similar way. They dyed their hair blonde.
I mean, I dyed my hair blonde when I moved to Edinburgh. So me and Sam Smith, a lot in common.
I've thought about dyeing my hair blonde, but I get enough abuse.
I think you would look really like an incel if you dyed your hair blonde.
You think I would look like an incel?
Yeah. I think if
That's
you
why
dyed...
I don't get a samurai sword, though.
What other points? Any other stuff you want to say about this album?
So, on Unholy features Kim Petras. You know who that is?
She's a German singer.
German trans singer. So it's great to have all different voices and be authentic. We're collaborating with people who are coming for the same angle with you and a lot of stuff.
For every plus point you have from including a German trans singer, you lose those points by including Ed Sheeran.
Well, yes. But they've been criticised because they've worked with Dr. Luke. You know who that is?
No.
Kim, you remember Kesha?
Yes.
Pop star, huge, and then went missing for a couple of years.
Yep.
Because their manager was sexually assaulting them and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they've become an industry persona non grata.
Right.
But some people are still working with them.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Petras, and she's like, "What? You wouldn't do it if you had the chance?"
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that brazen about the criticism as well?
Yeah, like she's on Twitter just going, "Shut up,
Okay.
9," stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's how German people talk. I liked this record.
Did you? I liked it more than I thought I was going to, but the bar was pretty low going in.
I thought it would be stay with me type shit. Mm-hmm. And then I heard about there's gay pop music on it. That's class. I don't want to be like, I think this is great, because I don't. I do think it's great that, they're expressing themselves in a more personal way.
I love art that expresses itself in a way that pisses off the right-wing media.
Yeah, I mean, Unhinged, this is quite a sad Unhinged YouTube comment of the week.
Right.
Unhinged YouTube comment of the week. Okay, so this is kind of out of order. Someone said, someone called Lil Boys Wheat, Nika and Brandon show 2 weeks ago said on a video of Sam Smith doing I'm Not Here to Make Friends, which is the kind of piss play, assless chaps, nipple tassels. You know, Sam Smith was recently kind of verbally abused in New York by an old Irish woman, and you know how I feel about them.
Love them.
They shouted, you know, paedophile and all this type of stuff because classically gay people have been conflated with Satanists and paedophiles by the socially conservative right wing. And that's infected this old lady's brain. I'm sure I'm not alone in being someone with people in their life who have had the brain worms of the media just absolutely rot them from the inside out like a worm in an apple.
Is this the comment?
No, this is my comment
Right.
on society.
Okay.
But this is the comment. Lil Boys Wheat, Nika and Brandon show said, man, how I miss George Michael. Someone called Deceiver said, the level of class was not the same, for sure. And then someone called Robs701 jumped in, and they actually made a good point. GM was lauded with controversy the exact same way Sam Smith is now. Don't try to rewrite history now. Explain to me the difference between this video and George Michael's video for Outside or Freak. And you know, reference to the fact that George Michael, after being arrested for having sex in a toilet, put out a video making fun of himself and just being like, yeah, this is a fucking culture. People are jacking each other off in toilets. What are you going to do about it? You know, urinals and stuff in the music video. And then someone called Ninjet 2 weeks ago just made it clear what these freaks are really upset about. She said, yes, we are. George Michael took care of his body and himself. I grew up in the 90s. I'm a straight female. But even George Michael's was a legend to me. To gay people, straight people, didn't matter. Everybody loved George Michael's. Yes, it could get a little raunchy, but it was a different type. It was oh, that's sexy. Not like Sam Smith, where it's, I'm going to throw up in my mouth.
Yeah, so that speaks to the exact actual issue that people have with Sam Smith, that they are someone who is comfortable in their body and their life. And for that, I do think, genuinely, inspirational. They've chosen...
This is such a tone whiplash from usual when we're just talking about cum. And
Yeah.
put a bit of cum in there for the boys and the girls.
For
and the
sure,
people.
for sure. You know, but you know, I think it's important to be able to chat about this stuff as well, in a mature way. You know, and so I do find it inspirational. I don't, however, think that automatically makes the music good. There's some good stuff on here, but the album in general, I'm probably never going to revisit for any particular reason. Outside now.
No. But like, what do you look for in an album by a pop singer? You know, like, as many hits as possible. And there's Unholy, and I'm Not Here to Make Friends. All I'm really asking from a modern pop album is, can you give me 2 bangers? As far as I'm concerned, job done.
You only want 2 bangers on a pop album?
Be realistic.
Yeah, but I think
Shania.
Yeah, Shania Twain. That was all
hit
bangers.
after hit.
You know, and that was why that was one of the best-selling albums of all time. And is this album going to be spoken about in 10, 20 years' time? Probably not.
Well, when they get assassinated by some right-wing loon, probably.
Only as the moment of the aesthetical change in Sam Smith. I'm excited to see what Sam does over the next few years, where they take their music. This was being spoken about as well. This is the album that I always wanted to make, but in reality, there's only 2 or 3 songs that are that much of a divergence from what they've previously been making.
I enjoyed this record because I loved thinking, wow, what's going to happen next? Is this a transitional album? Is this transitioning from the boring shite of their early career into the interesting gay pop music that sounds like a kind of
I hope so, because the 2 big singles, Unholy and I'm Not Here to Make Friends, have been hugely successful. People like it. So I expect that they will pursue that furthermore. And I hope so. Well, let's add some songs to the playlist. I expect it's just going to be those 2 songs, right?
Every week we add 2 songs to the Enjoy an Album playlist. You can access that on playlist.st, updated by Mega Slippers and Jay Howlett. You can access that playlist on Spotify and Apple Music. Every week we had 2 songs from the album, as well as 2 songs inspired by the conversation. Are we just going to stick on Unholy?
The 2 singles.
Kim Petras, the Dr. Luke collaborator, and I'm Not Here to Make Friends.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
it makes
they're
most
good,
sense.
aren't
They're the best songs, and there's a reason they've been put out as the singles. I think.
I promise this. There's been a lot of stuff we're not sure about put on the playlist. You know, I have issues with some of your choices. You have issues with some of my choices, and that's fine. Can we slice open our hands and mingle blood in a blood-packed Ed Sheeran will never be on the playlist. Never. I would sooner be
What if we
shot
cover? What if we
alongside
cover an Ed
Rayton's
Sheeran album, which we might do if he releases one? No, we've made the pact. So that is something that we have to. Okay, yeah, there we go. I didn't bleed, but
my blood on you.
we also add a track to the playlist inspired by our chat. I'm going to put on White Noise by Disclosure featuring Aluna George. Aluna George has a wonderful voice, and I remember when I first heard it, I thought, well, she's the next big pop star, and it hasn't really happened for her.
There's still time.
Oh, yeah, potentially. I mean, this was 10 years ago that album was released. But I love that song. It takes me back to dancing in the corner of Sneaky Pete's Out of My Fucking Mind.
Just
on
tune your wee face up.
MDMA. The Liam of the Past. Good vibes. What is... Oh, that's the album also. And a fire starts to burn. Right?
Fire starts to burn.
You know that song?
Fire.
That is such a good album, Disclosure. I'm going to go listen to that on the way home.
Maybe we can do an episode on them, although we all have spoiled the fact that they are secret Poshos.
Why are you picking up your book again?
Well, it's a great... Yeah, I honestly really recommend this.
You're such a boss baby with these books of yours.
What I was doing was I was listening to this. I was reading this book about the secret history of disco, and every song that came up, I was adding it to a playlist. And I was just reading, listening. It was like a documentary was happening in my head. It was phenomenal. And one of the best songs I found on it is Walter Gibbons' 1978 12-inch remix of Doing the Best That I Can by Betty LaVette. It's a 12-minute dubby, almost a criticism of the original song. Like it has these very syrupy strings, and it plays them once and it goes, never again. And then it's like, do you know when you listen to LCD Sound System and it's like, oh, it's punk but it's disco, and I'm like, how do I listen to more of that disco with the
Right.
honestly, absolutely stunning.
Okay, but what's the connection here?
The connection is this album is inspired by gay history, and this is fucking gay history.
Is it though?
Yes. What the fuck are you talking about? It's gay stuff.
I mean, it's yeah.
It's purple.
Okay.
You don't think disco is gay music?
No, I just think that's one of the most tenuous links you've ever made. Here's a book I'm reading this week, and here's a song I like from the book, and we're gonna put this song in the Sam Smith. That is, come on, Chris.
Scotland on Sunday said a complete triumph.
I'm not disputing the validity of the book's history of disco.
You're just upset because I said that slideshow comedy is real comedy.
Well, didn't do slideshow comedy either. I showed some funny films that I'd made.
Thank you so much for watching this
Some
week.
sketches.
It's been an absolutely phenomenal week.
I like to experiment with the form.
I like to experiment with the form.
I don't know. You just like to stand and talk, don't you? Just like to stand and talk.
To me, it is the constraints of a medium that would result in the best work. And when you poison your purity, I sound like a Nazi. But when
Yeah,
you
you absolutely do. I don't think disco would have existed under these rules, or gay people.
I hate to say it, disco wouldn't exist without the Nazis, as proven it. And you can read that in this book.
Yeah. Anyway, this episode has been sponsored by whatever that fucking book is. Clearly,
He can't read.
I can't read. Don't want to. Reading is lame. Thank you so much for listening to this absolute mess of an episode. Sam Smith. Did I enjoy the album?
We've done that.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
So tense.
It's tense because you're making it tense.
Shouting at me.
Sorry.
It's like
This pen's burst and I'm drinking. I'm getting fucking ink in my blood, man. I've got ink poison.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week when hopefully we're in a better mood.
This has been a good ep. This is good.
Okay, bye.
Peace and love in the new millennium.